Hello everybody and welcome into the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series, live tonight from the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway in the Gen 4 Cup Series, a car that a lot of people have been waiting for, and I am excited for what we've got here tonight. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You are watching Austin Green on PGR eSports, and I do apologize for the brief delay that we had. The internet did drop out for just a moment, but as promised, we are back before green flag has dropped. And in fact, these guys haven't even gotten rolling off of the grid just yet, which gives us just a little bit of extra time to talk about what we are going to see here tonight. And again, the big change, and I think really the big thing that everybody's excited for, is this new car. And exactly what that new car looks like, we'll get to in just a moment. Before we do, let's take a look at what tonight's starting grid is looking like. On the front row, the man who has been on fire lately, and that is Nick Seipel, puts down a 52.248. And again, he will start from the pole position in the 75 car. On his outside in second, Jeff Merck, the number 60, will take it from the outside pole. He put down another great lap himself. And then back in row number 2, it'll be Adam Young alongside Axel Smith, who will start from 4th. Miles Bagley starts from the 5th position here tonight. It'll be Trevor Oswanoth for the Jack Shack back in 6th. Fellow broadcaster Landon Veliky looking for a change in luck tonight. He will roll from 7th with one of his teammates in Jared Haynes to his outside in 8th. Dylan Basin back in at 9th. And Dawson Wise, another one of our fellow broadcasters, in 10th. Series owner Michael Triscaro will roll off from the 11th spot here tonight with his Team PGR teammate Brian Hennings to his outside in 12th. Back in row number 7 and 13th, it'll be Mike Davenport with Chase Mastretta to his outside in 14th. Brock Westmoreland, another one of your Team PGR drivers. He'll roll off 15th here tonight with Malik Ray, one of the Coke Series drivers, in the field in 16th. John Ellis Jr. back in 17th. Good to see him making a return to the field here tonight. And then it's going to be Zachariah Cartledge back in 18th, but John Darnell in 19th. And Daniel Falkingham rounding out the top 20. PGR Light Series champion Stephen Miles, who got the job done on Monday, will roll off 21st here tonight with Cody Nagels, one of the Nightmare Esports drivers, to his outside in 22nd. Back in row number 12, it's going to be Joey Maschwitz alongside Dylan Jones, who will roll off 24th. Then it's Mark Person back in the 25th spot with Nash Brambilla 26th. Sterling Thess in 27th with Joshua McCullough from McCullough Motorsports in 28th. Chris Melton will start 29th, and Christopher McCullough rounding out the top 30. We'll keep things rolling at 31st with Tyler Vickery, and then it's Ken McCullough Jr. back in 32nd. 33rd tonight, it's going to be Michael Barksdale with Mark Vondell in 34th. James Wagner, one of the Roughneck Racing boys, he'll roll off 35th with Nathan Harper rounding out the field in 36th. All right, now that we got the grid out of the way, gives us a chance to break down your race info here tonight. We are, again, in the Gen 4 Cup cars. Now, this isn't a new car to iRacing, but it's a new make of the car. Remember, this used to be just modeled like the old ARCA car, except they added a little bit more horsepower to it. But super speedway-wise, it drove exactly like the ARCA car. Now that it's gotten a remodel, a lot of things are different about it, and we are looking forward to it. 55 laps going to be the distance that will run here tonight at 100% fuel. These guys do have 2 sets of tires, and another big change this evening, you do have one fast repair. So if you go out there and tear it up early, you'll at least have a chance to keep going to try to fight for the money at the end. As always, fixed setups and one green-white checkered if we were to need it. Weather in the sim, 78 degrees outside, 35% humidity. Clear skies and winds at 4 miles an hour. Talladega Superspeedway, a monster of a track at 2.65 miles in total distance for one lap around this track. 87 degrees the starting track temp. And with it being that cool, it's going to be interesting to see what lines work and how effective it is, or at least I should say how bad the track is on tires, if these guys start to get tight as the run goes on, or if these cars tend to handle pretty well. All right, with that, let's zoom things in here a little bit now as we still await these guys to roll off of the grid. I believe they may now be waiting just to make sure race control is all set up and good to go. But again, gives us a chance to zoom in here trackside and look at exactly how beautiful these Gen 4s are. This is your pole sitter, Nick Seipel. He'll be the first man that we look at here tonight in the 75 machine. The driver out of Goobertown, Arkansas. And some big changes with this car. First of all, they went back to kind of the more rounded nose, and 2 manufacturers to be specific, Chevy and Ford. You've got the Taurus and the Monte Carlo. as the two cars that we're going to be looking at. Now, if we go to a rear chase view, you see that nose that I'm talking about. And the other big thing to note is on the right front, well, at least my right, I guess it would be the left side of the car. The left front on the Super Speedway package is a little bit more rounded than it is at the non-Super Speedways. So that's another thing to note. Now, how much these guys are going to be able to push and shove, obviously going to be another big question. And then you see the rear end, no massive change there, except that maybe a little bit flatter. And then the other big change is obviously inside the car. The cockpit looking a lot different than the way it used to be set up. These guys still have the gauges, massive steering wheel. And also, I noticed when testing these cars, it's kind of tough to see out the windshield. I mean, just from this view, you see how skinny and narrow it is. I mean, just where your helmet sits, you're basically already at the roof, if you will. So a lot of things to keep in mind there as we continue the countdown here until we go green, and just trying to see if we could get an accurate countdown there, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So again, if you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being here. You're watching the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series at Talladega, getting ready to roll in the first official Gen 4 race since these cars were updated this week by iRacing. We got a pretty stout field at 36 cars deep. A lot of guys very excited to get going in this one. And if you're tuning in, again, we hope that you're having a good night. Let me know where you're watching from, who you're rooting for tonight. And if you're one of the guys that either watches a lot of iRacing or enjoys it, let me know what you think these cars are going to drive like. If you've already tried them, we want to hear that too. And you know, it comes with a throwback car. A lot of beautiful throwback paint schemes. Obviously, the Home Depot number 20 that Tony Stewart used to drive catches your eye right there. I saw a few guys with other throwbacks. A lot of red and black cars. Back here, you see some of the PGR old school drivers with matching schemes. Michael Triscaro, Brian Hennings, Mike Davenport, Brock Westmoreland. I see a Dale Jr. throwback, so on and so forth. And it goes all the way back. We've got a tied car, Cody Nagels. He's running a beautiful number 6. I see a number 9, Casey Kane throwback back there as well. And with that, we are rolling. That means we're getting ready to go to green flag racing here tonight. Lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car, so we will be going green this lap as the field will check their gauges, make sure everything's feeling good as we get ready to roll through tonight. I'll tell you what, some of the big names that I'm watching, though, that are either looking to strike big for the first time here tonight or looking for a comeback race. Axel Smith, first driver that catches my eye. This guy, similar to what Seipel's been doing, just gets better and better every single race. And now that he's started to figure out the qualifying aspect, that's half the battle. Starting up front in these cars is so important because it's tough sometimes to get track position in these races when you get late in a run. And we've seen a lot of caution strike up front before, but usually it happens more so to the middle or back of the field. Trevor Osrenoth, one of the Jack Shack drivers, he is certainly going to be a favorite here tonight, starting from that 6th position. And then we look back a little bit further. One of the Coke Series drivers, Malik Ray, in the Bass Pro Shops tracker boat scheme tonight. You know he's going to be a favorite. Driving the Chevy Monte Carlo, we'll see what he can do. Again, starting from that 14th position. Then we move things even further back to your PGR Light Series champion, the driver out of Louisiana, Steven Miles. Looking to see if he can find victory lane here tonight in the Gen 4 cars. And last but certainly not least, another driver that I'm keeping my eye on here tonight is going to be James Wagner, starting in the 35th spot. A lot of work to be done, but with as much bad luck as he's had recently, you know that he's due for a break. Maybe tonight's his night. All right, back up front, the field in a 2x2 formation as the iRacing.com pace car going to pull off for the first time here tonight. And we are ready to throw things back and do this old school style here in the Gen 4 Cup cars. The PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series at Talladega Superspeedway is underway. Green flag is in the air. Let's go racing. Field already 3x3 as they rock it down the Talladega backstretch. And you heard there the roar of these V8s as we went by the cams. These things sound so much better than some of the other series we hear nowadays, in my opinion. But nonetheless, Trevor Osrenoth with a quick surge to the lead. He's going to actually pull clear on that third lane with help from his teammate. in Jared Haynes. Nick Seipel, though, quick to move up. He's going to try to stall the advantage. Right now, though, even though it's the first lap, definitely seeing a major advantage for that third lane. Something to watch here for the rest of the night. But it will be Trevor Osmanoff who leads lap 1 of 55 here at Talladega. Seipel quickly takes his Ford Taurus right back down to the bottom of the racetrack. And now the 89 going to jump to the middle. He'll try to get tanded up here with the number 20 machine. Adam Young, by the way, phenomenal run going so far for him as well, sitting in that 22 machine on the bottom of the racetrack. Another one of the Jack Shack drivers here tonight. There's the 77, Dawson Wise, up here making a run early, but so far so good. In fact, not maybe as much pushing and shoving as we're used to seeing in a lot of the other cars. You do see the 20 trying to get a little bit dicey with pushing in the corner early. By the way, that is Jeff Merck in the 20 machine trying to do some pushing to the rear bumper of Trevor Osmanoff. Jared Haynes up top right now working with the 98. And as long as they stay probably at least 3 or 4 cars deep on that third line, it'll stay with momentum, but we're seeing him start to fade out here. Jared Haynes really hoping he can get clear here. Not quite going to be enough. Man, this is really, really tight stuff. Off of turn 2, they're going to stay side by side. And whoa, Nick Seipel, big wiggle on the bottom of the racetrack. He had to catch it. And I think that spooked Adam Young just enough. He backed out of the throttle, and now the bottom will stall out. And Osmanoff going to have a chance to get clear, and he's going to take a couple of them down. Jeff Merck's going to follow. As you go further back, I think a couple guys maybe backing it off early, seeing all this action as they stay 2 by 2 from right around where Stephen Miles runs in the 25th spot on back. The other big thing to talk about in these cars is how fast these guys are running in the draft. It's right around the 180s solo, and now 4 wide. Uh-oh, hold your breath. Jared Haynes stuck in the middle. First time we've seen 4 wide tonight. How is this going to work out? Oh, man, you see the 48, Dylan Basin. Now he's the odd man out, but watch out, trouble. They're going to go around the 20. Jeff Merck backs it into the outside. Safer barrier. Caution is out. Jeff Merck with heavy rear end damage. You should see the deck lid bouncing around. He's got another piece. Flew off the car there towards the safer barrier. And again, first caution of the night. It was a hold your breath moment the second that they got 4 wide, and didn't know how long that was going to last. And look at the damage to the rear end. That's the other component that I don't think a lot of people think about. I don't really think about it when we talk about new cars, but it's the damage model. Some cars can take more damage than others. That certainly looks pretty significant for Jeff Merck. It'll be interesting to see if that's something that he can go in and try to get fixed optionally, or if he just automatically takes that fast repair. Either way, let's go back and look at what happened here through your PGR eSports instant replay. And Merck right in the middle of this 4 wide. I mean, in a really, really tough spot to say the least. And that was Chase Mastretta in the 8 on his inside here. They stay 4 wide. The 77, I believe that's Dawson Wise. Unless Dawson's in the 98 tonight. We'll figure that out in just a moment. But see the 4 wide, the 77 up the racetrack just a little bit from the bottom. You wonder if, trying to figure out if there was maybe some contacts or netcode that got these guys kind of sucked together of some sort. Certainly doesn't seem like that. Let's see here. A little tough to tell from that angle, so we'll go to the chopper view next. See if we can judge it from this spot a little bit more. So the 77 enters the corner low. Looks like bobbles up a little bit. Him and Mastretta do connect doors here just for a moment. They start to get it straightened out, but Mastretta obviously a little bit loose, gets back down into the 77. They save it. But then, oh man, that's definitely some netcode right there. That's pretty brutal netcode too. I mean, that's really all you can call it. Watch the 20 here. This thing's going to snap to the left, right there. Boom. iRacing thinks they're making contact to the left rear of Jeff Merck. They're not. But it gets the 20 out of shape, immediately goes down, and man, did Chase Mastretta get lucky to not get right hooked right back up the racetrack. And then you see the 9 back there. Nowhere to go. By the way, it is Dawson Wise in the 98 here tonight, and you will have to work with me a little bit on numbers here tonight. These guys don't have nameplates, so it's a little bit different to figure out with the newer paint schemes that they are running. So the 77 was not Dawson Wise. As we'll back this up now and see if we can give you a few more views from a couple of different angles. First off, watch it from TV3 at full speed. And I think, there's never really a good outcome in a wreck, but for Merc, I think it's maybe a little bit better that it goes rear end first instead of nose first. Otherwise, that's probably a much bigger incident and gets a lot more damage. And if there's any questions about a fast pair, they would have been erased if he would have hit head on. But bam. You hear the tail of the race car hard into the outside safer barrier. Give you one more look at this here. There's the contact, and from our zoomed in view, pretty big hit for the 9 as well. All right, so first caution of the night, getting things wrapped up. Looks like Merc has maybe chosen here to go with the optional route. Don't see him back out on the racetrack yet. We'll see if he's able to stay in front of the pace car. Meanwhile, back at the front of the field, you've got Trevor Osranoff currently leading the way in the number 89. Looks like he decided to go with the Chevy Monte Carlo. Just behind him, a Ford Taurus, and that's Nick Seipel trying to make something happen. Trevor Osranoff, by the way, is up 4 spots from where he started this race at. And you've got Dawson Wise back in 3rd. Axel Smith currently sitting in the 4th position. Brian Hennings 5th. Jared Haynes 6th. Dylan Basin in 7th. With Malik Ray in 8th. Adam Young 9th. And Landon Velicki currently rounding out your top 10. John Darnell back in 11th. And it's actually Miles Bagley tonight who's in the 77. So that answers that question. Zechariah Cartledge currently sitting in the 13th spot. Ash Brambilla 14th. And Michael Barksdale, Chase Mastretta. A few other drivers that are just kind of taking it easy back here right now. Still a lot of time in this race. And at 100% fuel in these cars, I believe that we are still too far out for these guys to make it on 1 tank of fuel. I think they would still have to go in under green. Assuming that, of course, we go green the rest of the way. But if we get another caution, I would say anytime after about, I don't know, man, lap 15, lap 20. That's when you're starting to get into that range of maybe these guys can stretch it to the end on a fuel load. But again, not going to be in that window just yet. John Darnell, Infinite Frost in the chat. Good to see you guys in here. Darnell says, let's go, Darnell. Infinite Frost says, JSR said, going to the front. That's exactly what they've been doing so far. See if these guys can continue that here tonight. Well, by the way, we do have a driver cam on board for us here tonight. One of the drivers who had a great run last week, if you remember, when we were back in the trucks at Michigan. And we asked him if he was going to take some momentum from that. And we'll see if he can do that tonight. And that is none other than Tyler Vickery, one of the Team PGR drivers. Looks like he might be rocking. Is that a Jeff Gordon throwback scheme here tonight? We'll see if he can. Yep, sure enough, he's got the DuPont throwback. See if he can take that car to victory lane. Tyler Vickery, by the way, up 10 positions from where he started this race at the moment. There you go. Gives the thumbs up to the broadcast crew as we'll settle in for the restart here with everybody else. All right. So back up front we go. And I do want to actually go back here just before we go green really quickly. See if we can figure out how Jeff Merck fared out of that. He's actually not at the back of the pack here, interestingly enough. And for the back of that race car and just how torn up it is, I don't think it's too bad. Brief look at the chase cam. Well, I'll take that back. He's still got no rear bumper, but looks like he's going to try to stay out nonetheless. All right, here we go. Take 2. See if these guys can get a few more laps under green this time, but it was all aggression in the first restart. What are we going to get for this one? Green flag back in the air. 8 of 55 laps complete at Talladega. And it's a great restart for Trevor Osranoff. Quickly going to file up to the top of the racetrack, and he'll pick up a push from the 75 and Nick Seipel. On the bottom, Dawson Wise leads the way. The 74, Brian Hennings. First time these two are working together out front here tonight. How are things going to fare? We've seen that you can do a fair amount of pushing in these cars on the straightaway, but I think the drivers are still kind of testing the waters in the turn. Seipel's going to push him and Osranoff clear. And let's see if Seipel decides to dip down to the bottom of the racetrack, or will he stay up? Well, that tandem holds strong. They're going to stay together now. I thought the bottom was going to stay stalled out, but actually they're going to get run back. Trouble. Velicki into the outside wall. Can everybody go around him? No. More trouble. Brembilla's going to lose it. We got another one spinning down to the bottom of the racetrack. Caution is out. Brembilla's in it. More big hits ahead. And we have a couple in the pits, a couple in the grass. Just about everywhere in between. Ken McCullough Jr. trying to get back rolling. He's in the grass. Brambilla with some damage. Not sure who else got the worst of this one here. Christopher McCullough. We saw somebody go down towards the inside wall. I couldn't tell exactly who it was. Might have... Ooh, I wonder if it was Brock Westmoreland here. He's definitely got some damage to the front nose of his Monte Carlo and the rear. So second caution. Less than a lap of green flag racing on this restart. And it all starts at a turn 4 here with the 62 of Landon Veliky, who's going to get up and into the outside safer barrier. See what happens to him here. Oh. Yikes. It's a little bit of a bumper hook, it looks like. Unless there's some netcode. Can't tell from that angle. But that was the 77 of Miles Bagley running behind him. You see here, does Miles try to go 3 wide on him? Looks like he does. See the 77. He sees a little bit of run coming out back, and those two definitely make some contact right there. Does Bagley come up, or does the 62 of Veliky come down? When he makes this move, Landon's got his left side tires on that white line. The 77 goes down. I think Landon creeps down a little bit. But man, it almost looks like from the perspective here, like the 77 maybe came up a little bit. Maybe a little bit of a mixture of both. Either way, tight quarters, and once they make contact, it sends Veliky up into the wall. They're okay here, but Nash Brambilla's got to dive low to miss it. And then I think he's going to get tagged here by the 55 of Davenport. That's exactly what happens. And then now that there's contact, it's going to send the 23 back up the racetrack. Here's the big hit for Nash Brambilla into the outside wall. And then I saw a lot of people trying to miss this here. Not sure exactly what all unfolded, so I'll have to go back and take another view of this. We saw somebody shoot off towards the inside wall. Again, I think it was either Davenport or Westmoreland. Oh, it was Davenport, who goes headed towards the inside wall, and oh man, that's a big hit. The rear end of the race car. Similar shot to what we saw for Jeff Merkin. Again, I would say, as man, he's got a front bumper there doing cartwheels through the grass. Oh my goodness. But still a big hit nonetheless. And for Nash Brambilla up here, more of the same. Not much he could really do. Tried to stay out of the way, but it's just an awkward spot. And I don't think Veliky is going to be too happy with Miles Bagley on that one either. Roughing him up, and you know, it's a little too early for that to be getting that aggressive. Things can happen that quickly here. And let's go to the onboard view here for Landon Veliky, who again took a pretty decent shot, but I don't think he's got race-ending damage. And of course, you do have that fast spare in your back pocket, but this is what it looked like from his point of view. And watch how quick this makes the car snap when this contact happens. Just immediately sends him up the track, and then that's to dodge Nash Brambilla. Does a good job there. Watches the chaos unfold out back. Mike Davenport is able to get back going. Brock Westmoreland, the other car that got involved, and he actually got in the grass on this one. This will be the last view that we take of this. You see Brock looks like he's got it saved. Maybe some suspension damage, and oh man, he gets clobbered by the 05 of Joshua McCullough. I mean, oh my goodness. That was a massive hit. Saw that car jump up in the air. Show you that one more time. Joshua McCullough either didn't see it or tried to shoot a gap that just ended up disappearing. But, I mean, this was about as hard of a hit as you could take. You see the 05 at full speed. Bam. Didn't look like he ever really got a chance to slow down. The big hits all around for your second caution of the night. Back up front, though, lights are off on the pace car. So we are getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Up front, leading the way, still Nick Seipel and Trevor Osronaut. Those two have been on the front row so far for pretty much most of the nights. And you've got Dawson Wise, Axel Smith in row 2. Jared Haynes currently rounding out the top 5. And we do have another driver, Cam, that has hopped on here. And that is series owner Michael Triscaro, looking to make something happen here tonight. Still hasn't found that first PGR victory. It's just a matter of time. I know we've said that a lot, but who knows? Maybe tonight's his night. Either way, he's still got some work to do. He'll be restarting from the 20th position, currently down 9 spots from where he started this race at. Well, the draft was a big topic of conversation for when this car was getting remodeled and reworked. A lot of people were curious if it would run similar to the real-life draft model at the time for these Gen 4 Cup cars. And Well, I wasn't really into NASCAR at the time, so I'll be honest, I can't tell you exactly how those guys ran then, but the general idea that I get here from what it used to be is that there would have been a little bit less aggression in the draft, and there would have been a little bit more of kind of the bubble, as we like to call it, between these cars. And we do see that when it's only two cars running together, but when you've got this big pack and all this energy, at least up front, we've still seen a lot of pushing and shoving, similar to what, well, I'd say what you see in either the next gen or the ARCA cars, where you can push about as hard as you want on the straightaways, and you can still do it in the corners. You just got to be careful, and you really don't want to get offset, because that just seems to make the problem worse. That's, again, the general idea that I gather so far, but we'll get to find out as we go through the rest of this race here tonight. All right, let's try this again. 11 of 55 laps complete. Still over 40 to go, so I don't believe these guys are quite in that fuel window just yet. But let's see if the action is going to stay where it is or if these guys will settle down and ride. Green flag back in the air, and it's a great restart. For the outside, Trevor Osranoff gets the big jump this time. And him and Dawson Y is going to be working together, the 98 and the 89. The 7 of Jared Haynes there as well. That puts the Jack Shack 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Released on the high side, but quickly fighting back on the bottom is Malik Ray. Man, looked like he was maybe thinking about trying to take the middle. Jared Haynes quickly cuts him off. And now it's the 48, Dylan Basin, all by himself on the third lane. We'll have to see if a run from Chase Mastretta. Does he decide to go to the third and help the 48 of Basin? He will not. Nagels was ready to shoot out with the 8, but he doesn't go. He'll stay tucked in line for now. 2x2 up front. Basin in the sucker hole. He's going to go all the way to the back as he'll have to tuck in line behind Nagels. Now we see two cars jump to the third lane, and it's going to be, looks like Malik Ray, along with the 31 of Steven Miles. The 89, Trevor Osranoff, stuck on the outside now. 4 wide again as they cross the stripe. Osranoff quick to jump in line just in front of the 8 of Chase Mastretta. Boy, these guys are really dancing around in the draft a lot more than I think they were expecting to this early on. And tell you what, they better get lined up here, and they better do it pretty quickly, because those front 4, if you will, they're trying to pull away here. Almost 200 miles an hour as they run single file by the time they get to the end of the backstretch. And I don't think they're going to be able to quite run away with the draft, but it certainly shows you what can happen on the last couple laps of this race if you don't stay pretty close to the leaders and try to get 3 wide here further back. And as for the one of Malik Ray, he's got the job done here in the PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series more than one time, so he knows how to race any car at any track, and it has not taken him long to adapt. Him and his good friend Steven Miles working together really good so far here tonight. And I say good friend, I know those two work together a lot on the super speedways. And so making something happen is now the 99 of Darnell. Boy, where did he come from? John Darnell with a big charge to the front. Now we see Mastretta jump out of shape. The 99 also wiggled. A couple cars have to dart to the apron further out back. But again, everybody finds a way to hold on. One of the other big things that I noticed with these cars just in testing, and I wonder if these guys are feeling it tonight, at least at Daytona, these cars had a tendency to kind of set themselves into the corner, which is different for a driver because you're used to kind of having to get the car set and turn it down into the corner. With the way these were working, you almost didn't have to do that. They kind of almost turned themselves into the corner. You didn't have to worry about actually yanking the wheel left until you got further into the corner. And now we're going to see Steven Miles and Malik Ray right back to the top of the racetrack. These two trying to go all the way to the front. Dylan Basin in the 48 trying to catch now. And all of a sudden, the outside line has become reestablished as a second lane. They were 3 wide just a couple of laps ago. And it did not take long to get back to 2x2. This is the part of the field that has now formed a second pack, 25th on back. As actually it's going to be, well, I have an extra car here. So they've caught Mastretta trouble. Oh no, the 77 goes around. This will bring out a caution, surely. Maybe not. That's Miles Bagley on the apron. He's going to gather it back up, but not after going around and getting into the wall. And there's your caution. Heavy damage to the front end. For Miles Bagley, right as they had caught in the 8 to Chase Mastretta, looks like maybe Miles tried to go high and something happened after that. Very odd looking wreck there for a group that was really kind of taking it easy and trying to play catch up. Let's go back and look at it here and see how it all started. We'll back things up. So you see they were catching a group right here. I'm trying to figure out exactly who the 9 is here that he was running with at the time. Again, I mentioned new schemes here tonight. is that Joey Mashowitz? A little bit tough to tell even from that view here. We'll see if we can get a rear chase view. Yes, it was. All right, so that was Joey Mashowitz. And let's go back here now to the chopper view. And for Miles Bagley here, watch as he goes high. So he's on his rear bumper. They're tandemed up. Ooh. And as the 9 tries to follow him up, he's tandem. And when he tries to follow him up, this is where you got to be careful, because by him not lifting, he's still on his bumper, but the 77 moves up first. So as the 9 goes to adjust to realign, he's still on his bumper, and it's basically just you're swiping his rear bumper, and that hooks him to the left. And as it does so, you see the 77 goes around. Looks like some contact with the 03 of, I think that was Ken McCullough Jr. maybe. And he goes around into the grass here. Not sure how that played out for Mashowitz. Looks like he may have hung on for the most part. But this is obviously a tough break here for Ken McCullough Jr. and a few others that were, again, really just riding in line. This is the last group that you would expect to get in an accident because they're trying to play catch-up. And usually that's the group that's more conservative. But watch it from the onboard view of Ken McCullough Jr. here. As he's going to see 77 get turned and tries to jump high. And I certainly think he minimized how bad that could have been. But I almost would worry about the suspension components there. The way that car hit the wall. And, oh, yeah, there you see it. He's crab walking. Man, so unfortunate news there, as that means that he did indeed take some pretty significant suspension damage, I would assume here. Let's see if we can get it fixed. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's just the angle of our camera. Try to see if we watch this from our rear chase here, how it looks. We'll find out more on that in just a moment. Looking at a couple more replays of this wreck, though. Let's go back into the zoomed-in view. I was looking here at some of the data that we got, but for the 77, I think this view might do it a little bit more justice because these guys are on the top of the racetrack. And again, watch the 9 to Joey Mashowitz. Right there. See how they get misaligned? And then as he tries to correct, just swipes the left side of the bumper, and these cars are already so light that it just turns them right around. And again, this could have been a lot worse, but still a tough break there for Ken McCullough Jr. And nice job by a few of these other drivers that had to make evasive maneuvers to not get involved any further. So no incident in the front of the pack. Remains as a 1 to 2 car incident. You see the 77 of Miles Bagley still getting some damage fixed on that car. As we go back up front, the 98 of Dawson Wise now being scored as your race leader. Great run going so far for him tonight. Driver out of Knoxville, Tennessee. We'll see if he can keep things going in the right direction. Jared Haynes second. Trevor Ausenoff third. The Jack Shack has been just lights out so far tonight. Adam Young there as well. That's another one of the Jack Shack drivers. Michael Barksdale, Malik Ray, Cody Nagels, Stephen Miles, Dylan Basin, and Daniel Falkingham. All the drivers still inside your top 10. A couple drivers on the apron here. Be interested to see if people are still saving fuel or how close they think they are. Either way, not going to see any of your leaders top off. It doesn't look like further back. Might see a couple drivers towards the tail of the field going for some more fuel, but we might now be at that point where these guys are good to go on fuel, or if not, it's really, really close. As we're approaching about 38 laps to go. It'll be 37 or 38 when we get the green flag. And the lights will go off on the pace car this time, so we will be going green next lap. And in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break. Stick with us. We'll be right back for the restart here at Talladega.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
But you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway with the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series. Getting ready to get back to green flag racing. 18 of 55 laps complete. It'll be 19 as we get the restart. And it has been a lot of aggression so far. And the story of the race has been cautions. 3 through the first 18 laps. Do the math on that. Average caution every 6 laps. We'll see if these guys can clean it up a little bit as the green flag is now back in the air. 19 of 55 laps complete, and it's a great restart. Again, for that inside line, the 98 of Dawson Wise. Continuing the trend, the leaders tonight have been able to get these massive jumps in. Seems like that's an advantage in these cars because you have the option to either jump up or stay down. That's exactly what Dawson Wise is going to do. He'll quickly jump up. Malik Ray sees it further back, and he'll immediately jump to the third lane. Oh, man, big run up top. The 31 of Steven Miles pushing the 1 of Malik Ray clear to the lead. How about that move from Miles and Ray? Oh, my goodness, what a push. They're going to pull 2, almost 3 clear, and it will be 3. That's Daniel Falkingham in the 32 that goes with him. Well, you talk about a car that can generate a run fast. That's one of the biggest runs we have ever seen on the first lap here at Talladega. I mean, that bottom and middle, they were organized, but the third came out of nowhere. And just like that, Malik Ray, your new leader at Talladega, with 20 laps complete, and the inside is stunned. Osmanov has fallen back now, just outside of the top 10 for the moment. Now quickly back up, almost to the top 5 as the bottom starts to roll. Dawson Wise will jump back down. I think a few of these guys are starting to feel a little bit more comfortable of riding on that top lane, and that being the lane that gives you a little bit more momentum. Track temp now, by the way, up to 96. The hotter it gets, the better that third lane will roll. Still 3 wide as we saw a little bit of a block up top. The 24 going to get into the outside wall. That was Tyler Vickery. He'll make the correction and quickly settle things back down. Certainly a close call and near disaster avoided there, but boy, I tell you what, Malik and Miles, they just look so good pushing together right now. Maybe the best tandem that we have seen so far here tonight. Miles has been square just about anywhere that he's tried to push Malik. And oh, trouble out back. Miles Bagley's going to get turned around. He'll get tagged by the 99 of Darnell. Big hit up top. It's the 33. Is that Dylan Jones? Caution right back out. Just after cleaned up the last one. No, that's actually Sterling Thess in the 33. Both him, Adam Young, destroyed race cars. Front end ripped off of both and smoke out of the back here. The 33 of Thess. Yeah, his night is, well, it's not done. He's got the fast spare, but he's definitely going to have to use it right here. That sort of damage, I mean, that is major. And it all started, if it looked like a push gone wrong, going into turn 1. Go back and take a look at it here and see. So it all starts with the 22 of Adam Young here. And I might have said Miles Bagley initially. I apologize if I did. He's in the 77. A similar looking paint scheme from my point of view, so I thought that was him for a second. But no, this was actually Adam Young who gets turned initially right here. And 74 Hennings pushing, but I think he just gets him a little offset to the left at that vulnerable point where you're transitioning from the straightaway into the corner and the car just kind of unloads. Go back to an aerial point of view here on this one and show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so there you see the 22. Notice how Hennings is a little offset left, but they're on the straightaway here, so they get away with it. But as they get towards the corner, they get more and more offset left, and then right here, as the car tries to load up, Hennings is offset to the left, more offset to the left, and right there, trying to realign with the rear bumper of Adam Young, but instead hooks him in the left rear and immediately sends Adam Young down the racetrack. He's going to go down. You see Miles Bagley sneak by there in the 77, and then Adam Young gets tagged hard by John Darnell right there, who obviously had nowhere to go, and then Mistretta piles in. Mike Davenport had nowhere to go. The 4, Brock Westmoreland, goes low, and then there you see the 33. Big hit up top. Sterling Thess also nowhere to go in this one. This is the cockpit view for Sterling and show you what it looked like from his point of view. Tried to sneak around it, but oh man, that's a big hit too. Damage like that, definitely going to be fast repair worthy. And we saw a few big hits here for a few different drivers, so I wouldn't be shocked if This isn't the only one using his fast pair, and he made the right move, jumping down to the apron. But Mistretta obviously coming down to try to miss it there, gets into him, and then that secondary hook sends this thing dead right into the fence. All 4 tires off the ground. Give you a couple more looks at this one here before we go back live. It's just one of those incidents, too, where it's, you know, it's everybody's still learning this car, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it is still new. A lot of guys are trying to kind of test the waters on what you can do and what you can't do, and going to be obviously a hard lesson there on one of the things that you can't do. Brian Hennings, no ill intent there, just trying to push the 22. These guys still learning a lot about these cars. So just a big part of it there, but nonetheless, still brings out your 4th caution of the night. So we'll go back live now as 23 of 55 laps in the books. Looks like Sterling did take his faster pair, so he'll be right back onto the racetrack and get ready to reset and give it another shot. Meanwhile, up front, Malik Ray currently leads the way. 15 spots from where he started this race at. Daniel Falkingham 2nd. Michael Triscaro currently in at 3rd. Stephen Miles 4th. And Nathan Harper in 5th. How about we go back and look at that last restart and the job that Stephen Miles and Malik Ray did, because this was a work of art here. The job these two did to go to the front. And we're going to hop on the cockpit view here for Stephen Miles, who was the lead pusher for Malik in this case. And watch this. So they restart back here. 3 or 4 rows back on the outside. But watch how things evolve in front, and watch how they take advantage of it. So you see Malik sees the 98 move up top, so he says, okay, that lane's going to stall out a little bit. Jumps up, him and Miles immediately get connected, and as soon as they get tandem, I mean, they just absolutely roll to the front. And they don't just get 2 clear, they pull 3. Brings Falkingham down. The only man that gets left out in that ordeal was the 74, Brian Hennings. But I think a lot of drivers are going to be keeping note of that for the rest of this race, saying, man, look at the run that you can get on that 3rd lane, even just on the first lap, which honestly, as a driver, in my mind, is kind of refreshing. Because we see a lot of series where you just can't do that on the last lap, and it leads to some of the desperate scrambles because you know that you just can't make anything happen with 1 lap. But in these cars, that may no longer be the case. All right, so we are nearing the halfway point in this one. In fact, we have pretty much hit that halfway point as we get the restart right here. So with Malik and Falkingham now on the front row, and Triscaro, the new lead pusher, up here in the 2nd row. See how it turns out for these guys. Nathan Harper in the 24 on the bottom as well. And if you're just tuning in, by the way, we appreciate you being here. Again, you're watching the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series in the Gen 4 Cup car. Recently got updated by iRacing, so if you're wondering why it looks different, that would be the answer. All right, so 24 will be 25 laps complete. I do want to note these guys are now well within fuel range, I should say, to make it to the finish. So we will not see a green flag pit stop. The only time we'll see pitting is under caution. And I think the only time you're going to see it from the leaders even then is if they have damage or if for some reason tires matter that much. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this is going to be a dogfight for track position the rest of the way. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. And it will be 31 laps remaining here at Talladega. Malik Ray will lead the field as they climb the banking. Down in towards turn number 1. Daniel Falkingham trying to get a run sized up. It'll be interesting to see if Malik and or Stephen Miles jump up to the high side. What can the top lane do? Will they get a run like what we saw on that last restart? They draw even now. Down the back stretch. Take that back. Miles actually gets tanded up with Malik quicker than the outside can. And instead, this time it'll be the inside that gets the major advantage on the first lap. And there's the shift. Malik and Miles will move right up to the top of the racetrack. Further back, we see a 3rd lane trying to form. It's Jeff Merck along with the 61. Nick Seipel back there as well, trying to make something happen. Still 3x3 here as we draw all the way back to where Nashburn Miller's running, even with James Wagner, but up front it's 2x2. As they cross the stripe that time, Daniel Falkingham and Stephen Miles now the tandem working up top. Miles, first time that he's had a chance to get some clean air here in the last 5 to 10 laps. The inside still rolling strong. Harper seems to have figured out how to push in these cars pretty quickly as well. You see that third lane, though, continues to try to get working and get together to make something happen. That is Landon Veliky in the 62 up top, currently leading the third. Trying to get some help, but he just can't seem to get it right now. And just as I say that, looks like Jeff Merck did arrive on scene, the 20. Now going to make that 4 cars on the outside. Keep an eye on them over the course of the next lap and a half. They may get something working, especially now that Dylan Basin and Jared Haynes also thinking about jumping out to that third lane. Up front, you've got 2 Chevys leading the charge. Falkingham continuing to try to push the 31 of Stephen Miles out in front. Harper, though, him and Malik, oh, well, just as I was getting ready to say, they figured out the tandem on the bottom. They got a little mismatch there and almost turned Malik around, but they hold it. And man, oh man, that third lane just continues to struggle to get organized. It seems like the help is there, but they just have not been able to make any headway towards the front, at least not yet. And they'll pick up another car here with Dylan Basin. That's going to allow the 62 of Veliky to cool his temps a little bit. Merck should have fresh temps. And in doing so, we'll see now if that third lane can make a charge. Just about everybody that we have on the racetrack without damage is up here in this pack trying to dice it up. We do have a second pack forming here. John Darnell and Chris Melton. You see the 22 of Adam Young, Mark Pearson, all trying to chase as well. As speaking of Chase Mastretta, the only car out of this race at the moment is, whoa, big wiggle up front for the 48 of Dylan Basin, who got really out of shape off the front bumper of Jeff Merck. And that was another really, really close call as we zoom things out now to the blimp cam. The 31 of Miles continues to provide a masterclass of how to contain the draft here up front at Talladega. Goes to the inside to let the middle cool. Then he goes right back to the middle to let the inside cool. Him and Malik have been absolutely phenomenal so far this race. And it seems like there is a lot of opportunity to control the pack in these cars. Again, something that we don't see with all the series, but here we go. That third lane has finally gotten 2 or 3 drivers bumper to bumper. And now the 48 of Basin's going to try to go ahead, but Merck's got to be careful here. Can't get too greedy on the tandem and accidentally spin the guy out in front of you. And it's going to work out. Merck was able to stay square. Trouble out back. Harper turned into the pack. Caution is out as the 24 spins down towards the inside wall. He won't make contact with it. In fact, he'll be able to get it straightened back out. That was a bizarre-looking wreck for the 24, Nathan Harper, who it looked like may have kind of ghosted through a few people after getting turned. And just 29 of 55 laps complete. So we are approaching that 25 lap to go mark, but I was just going to say, you saw Harper blink out. I think that was part of what really stalled out this middle line. And right there, that's where he's going to blink out here. And we'll back this up to when he first does blink out. And so it's right as he's coming to give Malik a push. Blinks out, and when he reappears, he's basically in the rear bumper of Malik Ray, and as Cody pushes him, that's exactly what it is. I don't know if it was something with the way that car was coating back in, but watch the way this works out. He goes into the back bumper of Malik Ray, and Cody Nagels also goes through his rear bumper. And, I mean, just no chance right there if you're Nathan Harper. That immediately turns his car around. And I think what actually turned him was when Cody got through his bumper. Again, nothing Cody could do. That's some sort of issue there with when he blinked, but again, obviously, when you get a car that far up your rear bumper, it's going to lift the rear tires up, and it's exactly what it does. Sends him around, and as he goes through the packet, this is what was interesting to me. Look at this. Look how he's kind of just... It's almost like Harper's taking the hits from these, but nobody else is. Both Nagels and... Was that the 04 or the 74? That's the 34, actually, Triscaro. They don't seem to get damage right there. Just kind of phased through Harper, who eventually lands back on all 4, locks it down, and eventually gets it pointed back in the right direction. That's the good news there, because when he got turned right into the middle of the pack, you thought this was going to be huge. Look at that car get up off the ground before eventually setting back down on all 4s. Watch it from his onboard view here. See if this gives us any more of a unique perspective here on when he actually kind of goes through the bumper, Malik. And yeah, watch, you can actually see the car get lifted up. Watch here. Right there. See how you can see kind of the car angled down towards the racetrack, showing you that it gets lifted up in the rear end. Watch the gearbox of this. You know, normally we're used to, look how far into the engine bay you can see the cam, the gearbox cam. Definitely a bit of a more crazy wreck for Nathan Harper, but again, not much damage, so he should be okay with just some optional fix. As we go back and look at this one here one more time from our zoomed in cam. I want to see, I love this angle though of, you can see the car actually getting lifted up. All right, watch the shocks. See how it's lifting the rear of the car up? I mean, you can actually see the tires off of the ground when he starts to get turned. But then right here, look how he phases through Michael Trasquero. It looks like he's getting tagged, but none of the other cars are taking damage or responding the way you would think they would if they were to have actually been in the accident. All right, so we go back live now at the front of the field, and leading the way is Dylan Basin, Jeff Merck in second, with Landon Veliky third, Stephen Miles fourth, Daniel Falkingham rounding out the top five. As we get ready for the restart, go get yourself a quick break, grab a snack. I am going to go grab a quick drink of water, and we will be right back for the restart. Stick with us here at Talladega.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway, and it will be 23 laps to go in the Intimidator Superspeedway Series here tonight. Up front, Dylan Basin, Jeff Merck, ready for the restart. So are we. Back into the Geico restart zone they go, and green flag back in the air. 23 laps to go, and it's another big jump for the inside line. Dylan Basin and Landon Veliky out to a massive jump by the time they get down towards turn number 1. Veliky going to stay in line. This time it'll be the inside that lines up much more efficiently, but up top, watch out, the 20 of Jeff Merck trying to get together here. The 6 of Cody Nagels and a few others. think if you're Jeff Merck here in the 60, oh man, actually we have two 20s. Well, I'm getting mixed up here. We got two guys in Tony Stewart schemes now making their way up front. And so that would explain some of the confusion there. As the 31, though, Stephen Miles leads the top, getting pushed by Falkingham. Malik Ray tucking in that line as well. And that 20 that we're seeing up top, is that John Ellis Jr.? Yes, it is. John Ellis Jr. in the other Home Depot scheme. Nagels look at 3 wide. Malik's going to try to block. Nagels will go back low. Is that going to put him 4 wide? Yes, it is. Osbornoff follows, as does Jared Haynes. Now Nagels will switch back to the top. The 6 car's got a massive run. Tries to take it to the front. Contact. Are they going to wreck? Osbornoff. Oh, my goodness. Oh, they're going to wreck, though. The 7 of Jared Haynes back up the track. Takes out the 11. Dylan Jones. The entire front drivetrain on that car completely ripped out. He can't even keep that thing straight. See it wobbling around on him every time he tries to turn it. Man, Trevor Osbornoff made an unbelievable save, and I thought they were all going to hold it in. Ooh, boy, for Jared Haynes, major front suspension damage for him as well here, it looks like. And so we'll have to see if these guys still have the fast repairs we talked about earlier. Here we go. Watch what happens in this one. This was, again, a phenomenal save by Trevor Osbornoff. You could tell as soon as they got 4 wide. We've seen this a couple times tonight. They've just kind of ran each other out of room, and hasn't been much space to really make anything work. But if we go to the chopper view first, you're going to see the 89 Osbornoff there in the middle. And up top, Malik Ray. There's a little bit of space there. Trevor trying to follow in the draft to Dylan Basin. And boy, it almost looks to me there like the 20. And I believe that 20 is John Ellis Jr. Maybe creeps up just a little bit. Again, it's really tight quarters to begin with. But you see the right side tires for Ellis on that white line. And yeah, I definitely think that the 20's drifting up a little bit. Gets into Trevor Osbornoff. Osbornoff back into him. There's some contact. Now they're stuck together. Then is Trevor finally able to peel it off of him? Look how loose he gets. I mean, this save is ridiculous once he gets tagged by Jared Haynes. Look how quick he jumps the wheel back to correcting it. Man, somehow saves it. Keeps it off of Malik, but then fortunately Jared Haynes here, as he tries to save it, gets tagged by the 98 of Dawson Wise and then gets hit by the 99 of John Darnell as well. I think it's still Dylan Jones who arguably gets the worst of this one here. So he took a big hit on the outside wall. Darnell's been involved in a few incidents here tonight where he's kind of ran up on the scene right at the wrong time. I think that was another one of those incidents there. Give you another view of this here. Go back to where it all starts here between Jared Haynes and Trevor Osbornoff. And I'll play this full speed for you here. Watch this save from Trevor Osbornoff. This is just unbelievable. I mean, you cannot. I know he's on 210. That is still a really, really good save to make in that spot. In fact, did he actually get collected there in the second part of the wreck after he missed the first part? No, it looks like he saved that one too. Nicely done right there by Trevor Osbornoff. Then John Darnell there. Not sure if he had broken suspension or what the deal was, but I got to think that's going to be a borderline night ender for him as well, unfortunately, as you know, he did already have to take his fast repair from an earlier incident. And there's the view from our wall cam coming out of turn 2. And as we set up for yet another restart now, it'll be under 20 laps to go. And up front, Stephen Miles, Daniel Falkingham still well in control. And both drivers up almost 20 positions from where they started this race at. Jeff Merck in 3rd, Landon Veliky 4th. And there's Cody Nagels currently rounding out your top 5. By the way, if you're curious about what payouts are looking like here tonight, let's head over and check them out. $230 to first. This was based off of 40 entries, and I think these guys came up 4 short tonight, so these payouts may be scaled back just a little bit. But just to give you a broad idea, $230 to first, $200 to second, and then $160 to third, $140 to fourth, $130 to the 5th place finishing car tonight, $100 to 4th, $140 to 4th, $130 to 5th, $100 to 6th, $60 to 7th, $50 to 8th. And then it'll be 30 to 9th and 10th. And there's your update from Tyler Vickery. Says it's actually only going to be a top 8 payout. So I wonder if they maybe kept the payouts the same for those 8 positions and just took away the final 2. In that case, payouts would be similar. By the way, if you're ever interested, if you're somebody watching the broadcast and you're wondering how you can get in on these races, we do always put the link to the Discord for PGR eSports in the description of the video. So make sure you do go check that out, again, if you're interested in getting in on some of these races. Obviously, it is money racing, so it is a pay to enter, but usually only about $25 to $27 is the entry fee, which by no means am I saying that's cheap, but when you look at some of the payouts, certainly can make more than double your money, even by just finishing in the top 5. By the way, if you're just tuning in, again, appreciate you being here. Hope everybody is enjoying the video, and if you're new here, do make sure you give us a follow. If you like what you're seeing, make sure you like the video. It always helps us. So it looks like with the lights off on the pace car, this will indeed be an 18 lap to go restart. And so still a fair amount of time for a lot of things to unfold. A lot of guys can still make moves even if you're towards the back, but we're starting to slowly but surely work our way back down, especially to that point where you really don't want to be in the back half of the field, I wouldn't say, because it starts to get really, really difficult to make those positions up when we get to within about 10 laps to go, and especially if we keep getting cautions at the pace that we're getting cautions at right now, it's going to make things arguably even more difficult. But man, I think the fan favorite tonight, or at least the race favorite, whether you're a fan or not, has got to be Steven Miles. I mean, he has been doing everything about as good as you can. See Malik blinking on the apron there. Hope that can get sorted out before we go back green so he can restart in that position. I don't think race control is going to let him start there if it stays that way. And man, you get worried, you start blinking that much that quickly. Sometimes you actually blink out, but looks like maybe it's stabilized here for Malik. Looks like he's staying below the apron for now, but oh man, and the blinking starts to come back right there. To see how it pans out. Either way, getting back to the point of Steven Miles, he has been a phenomenal pusher and a phenomenal leader here tonight. He's been pushing so good. He's got some front end damage to the nose of his car. It may not be the last of it. Malik's still blinking. So these guys will roll up to the Geico restart zone, and we are now officially just 18 laps away from crowning our first ever winner in the new Gen 4 Cup car. Green flag back in the air. 18 laps to go at Talladega. Pretty even restart this time. Miles not able to get any sort of major advantage. Neither was Daniel Falkingham. They stay at about a dead heat through turn 1 and 2, but this outside, I think, got organized quicker, but the bottoms got more help. This will be an interesting drag race down the backstretch. 32 of Falkingham's got the advantage. Right now, Merck's able to keep him out in front. Now they're going to go 3-car tandem up top. Almost 4. Can they roll 2 cars clear? Not quite yet, but into turn 3 they do. Jeff Merck also gets clear to the bottom. Will he try to drop down and take the position, or will he stay up top? Oh man, Merck really wanted Cody to follow, but instead the 6 gonna split him out. Cut, throat, and kill as Cody Nagels here tonight. He wants to go to the front, and doing so as quick as he possibly can, but the 31 on the bottom of the racetrack still trying to hold even. Steven Miles is now faded 2, 3, almost 4 spots as they get into turn number 1. The outside just has all the momentum, and you almost wonder if some of that damage on the front nose of Miles is hurting by leading that line. Trouble out back, big wreck. 2 cars, actually it's only going to be 2. I thought it was going to be big initially. Looks like it's actually only going to be a couple of them that get taken out in this one. James Wagner, though, with a big hit off the inside wall. And the number 30 car is going to have to go in and use his fast repair. I think this might have been the first incident, though, he was involved in tonight. The big hope here is that just he can limp this back to the pits. That is some heavy, heavy front end damage. Let's go back and look at what happens to this one. This actually starts in the back. I'm not sure if it was due to a checkup up front or something else. Ooh, it's going to be a checkup in this third line, it looks like. As these guys are running pretty tight together, but as you see the 04 Christopher McCullough, I think he gets either into the rear Brock Westmoreland. Does he get a little bit of contact, or does he just get tight? Maybe a little bit of contact. Either way, gets into the outside wall. They check up, and boy, that one happens so quick. There's just no chance to react here for Wagner. Gets in the back of the 24 and then gets turned around by Joshua McCullough. Jared Haynes, I think, got collected as well, and then I take it back. I thought he hit the inside wall, and that's what ripped off his front bumper, but it's actually contact from some of the cars here as Haynes cannot catch a break tonight. That was the contact there he hits Jared Haynes in the passenger side door. That's what rips off the front end and damages the suspension. Does a good job, though, of still driving out of it and keeping it off the inside wall to prevent that car from not being able to even be drivable back to the pits. Give you another view of this here from TV2, and it just happens so quick when you're running that close together, and there's a checkup. And there's what it looked like from slow-mo. Looked like, is that Dylan Jones who gets some contact there as well? Ken McCullough Jr., maybe even some slight damage there to the right rear of his car. Mark Vondell does a great job of sneaking through this one. So as Wagner gets it back together there, damage had already been done. Let's watch this one more time here from our TV view, or our wall cams rather. I think this is going to be an interesting shot. You see the field scatter out back, but we still have not seen the big one here tonight. I think the most cars we've had collected in one incident was 3 or 4, but for the most part, these guys have been doing a good job of avoiding some of these cars, even when they spin into the middle of the pack. See if they can keep it that way the rest of the way, but 15 laps to go. Looking more like it's going to be probably 13 to go when we get to the restart. And Nagel's up front, Falkingham second, John Ellis Jr. third, Stephen Miles fourth. How about Zachariah Cartledge? What a run for this driver. And I don't know if this is Zachariah's first start. I feel like it isn't. I feel like I've heard that name before. Regardless, we don't see him a ton, but here tonight, he's having a great run, up 13 positions from where he started this race at, and in the top 5 just in time for crunch time. Then Avelikian in 6th. He's also got a good run going. Davenport 7th. Dylan Bass at 8th. Joey Mashwitz, good recovery after being involved in an early incident. Currently sitting in that 9th spot. And there's Malik Ray, currently in 10th. All right, well, as we get ready for the restart here, curious to see how some of these guys up front are feeling tonight, but it doesn't look like we have much of, if any of them, actually in the Discord channel, so scratch that for interviews there. While I take that back, looks like we do have Davenport up here, who's got himself inside the top 10. Let's see how he's feeling right now. Hey, Mike, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you. How you doing?
Good. Well, man, you've got a good run going so far here tonight. Currently sitting in that 7th position, and man, it's been a little chaotic. You got a little damage. How are you feeling right now for this restart with about 13 laps to go?
I feel pretty good. Had a couple of incidents where I got just a couple of minutes of damage. I think the cars handled the damage pretty well as far as the way that I've gotten hit. So I was able to get most of it repaired. I've only got about 30 seconds of damage here now, and drove through a lot of the field with that amount of damage. So I don't think it's going to hinder me too much. We'll see if I try to lead a line or something like that. Clean air maybe might be an issue, but as of right now, I'm just going to keep going with what I got and send it here.
Absolutely. And hey, the beautiful part about money racing is you don't have to finish first to still make a good amount of money. Mike, we appreciate you talking to us. Good luck the rest of the way.
Yes, sir.
All right, there you go. Mike Davenport feeling pretty good right now, even with the damage that he's got to the left front. I'll show you exactly what he's talking about there. I know we could see it a little bit from our views there, but give you a rear chase shot of this to show you exactly just how bad it is. That's not too bad, but I do agree. I think if he gets in clean air or in front of one of these lines, could maybe become a little bit more of an issue. And you see he's got the PGR Old School 400 scheme advertising that race, which is an invite-only race for a select 50 drivers. Looking forward to that. It will be upcoming in a few weeks. We'll have more info on that, obviously, for you as it becomes available. But at the moment, it's all about the guys at the front here and the job that they have been doing to keep it up here. Cody Nagels, he's another one that's due for a win here shortly. He's already got multiple wins in PGR. Looking for another one here tonight. Well, 55 people watching tonight. We certainly appreciate it. Again, hope everybody is doing well. Let us know where you're watching from or who you've got winning this one or what you like about the new car. But I'd be very interested to hear what some of the driver opinions have to say in post-race interviews about how they felt about this car. Again, first real, I would say, posted race with this many cars and this many competitive drivers on the racetrack to get a real test and a real feel for how these cars work. And so the iRacing.com pace car going to make that left turn again. It's been pretty busy here tonight, but We'll see if we can go green here the rest of the way. It'll be 13 laps to go as they work back into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air.
Green, green, green.
With just 13 to go, who's going to get the big paycheck here tonight? Cody Nagels with a pretty good jump, but not good enough to jump in front of the 32 of Daniel Falkingham. Falkingham was able to match him pretty well. They'll stay side by side now as they work off into turn number 1. Nagels on the bottom, Falkingham up top. The lead pushers are John Ellis Jr. and the 31 of Stephen Miles. Still side by side, but as they get onto the back, watch out. Here comes that dangerous third lane again. Look at the run for Malik Ray. He's going to get some big help too. This time from, it looks like, is that the 34 of Michael Triscaro? Yes, it is.
Right,
Series
man,
owner Triscaro trying to get to the
out.
front as caution is out back. Trouble. Not sure what it's for, but we've got a few slow cars here. Not showing any data. That's the only reason that I'm saying I'm not sure what it's for yet. And yeah, we didn't actually show data for what exactly the caution was for. Darnell, with heavy damage. Not sure if that was from an earlier incident or if that's from this one. Let's go back and take a look at it here and see if we can figure it out. Whatever this was, it happens towards the back of the pack. So we'll watch first here from the rear chase view to see again if we can figure out exactly where this caution starts. Just looking out back for Mark Vondel's. Ooh, Seipel. Seipel tried to make a block there on Vondel. Not really sure what that was. Should hear from the chopper view. See, Vondel's got a big run here. Seipel slots up. Vondel goes to go low, and I'll tell you what that looks to me like there. That looks to me like Seipel tried to block the 59. And Vondel said, okay, if you want to block, I'm going to give you a push. Seipel couldn't take the push and goes around and gets back into the 59 of Mark Vondel. You see Seipel spin down low. I don't think anybody else got collected there unless if they did, it would have had to have been at the end of this. Nope, John Darnell already had that damage. Watch this from the onboard view of Nick Seipel. This will tell you all you need to see here. I wonder if this was a block attempt or something else that somehow we're not seeing. That was definitely a block attempt right there from Nick Seipel. And it's, you know, I get the frustration there from Seipel on blocking that. He's probably saying, you know, why aren't you pushing me? But at the end of the day, Mark Vondel has obviously the right to go wherever he chooses, and kind of silly to be blocking if you're Seipel in that case, and you kind of got yourself in a pickle and turned around. Unfortunately for Mark Vondel, though, gets collected. So both of those two cars with decent amount of damage, and then you see Seipel here goes to the inside wall. It's going to take another shot. Bam! Off the left front. See if we can get another angle of this one here from Mark Vondel. Is you're going to see Mark here. He's going to try to probably go low, but just can't really miss him when he makes that block. See Seipel go high, ducks low, and once Seipel ducks down, just not really enough time for Mark to try to miss him. And so that is now officially our 8th caution of the night for anybody keeping count. Brock Westerland stopped on the racetrack, maybe went to go do something briefly. But as your official race leader right now, it is Malik Ray with the 32 of Daniel Falkingham 2nd. Michael Triscaro 3rd. Stephen Miles 4th. Got Dawson Wise 5th. Cody Nagel 6th. Landon Velicki 7th. Brian Hennings 8th. John Ellis Jr. in at 9th. Dylan Basin rounding out your top 10. All right. We are going to go take another quick break. Hopefully our last one of the night. Again, go grab yourself a quick drink, quick snack, and meet us right back here for the finish at Talladega.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
You feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience is just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
Three by three.
Almost from trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it at Talladega.
We're back to Talladega Superspeedway. Apologies for some of the pop-ups. We had a few drivers that joined a little bit late, and sometimes it causes things like that to pop up when we come back from break. But hey, nonetheless, how about a 9-lap shootout to decide it in the Gen 4 Cup cars? Malik Ray, Daniel Falkingham on the front row, Michael Triscaro, Stephen Miles on the second. Green flag is back in the air. 9 laps remaining here at Talladega. Good restart for the front row. Would not be shocked to see Malik Ray jump to the top here and get hooked up with Daniel Falkingham. That's exactly what they do. The two Coke Series drivers and world-class license holders trying to see if they can hold off the rest of the field for the rest of the way. If you're Michael Triscaro here, you know that you need help, and he just can't seem to get it right now on the bottom of the racetrack. Bottom lane maybe finally starting to draw even. Now they've got to start to slowly trim that deficit and work back towards the front. Dawson Wise with that line. Now Miles going to make the big jump down to the bottom of the racetrack. Triscaro going to line the 31 up for a push. Stephen Miles, where will he go? Triscaro now going to actually jump up to the top. Cody Nagels forced to split. Dylan Basin will follow. The 74, Brian Hennings, the only driver that's going to stick with his teammate. Now they'll get some more help, though, from the 4, Brock Westmoreland. Still 3 by 3 from about the 5th row on back. Things are getting really tight really quickly. Man, oh man, further back, we almost had an accident right there. Looked like it was right around where the 89 Osnath was. Still more contact. Now the 77 going to get turned into the wall. Axel Smith and Miles Bagley get together. No caution. We keep it green up front. Oh, Malik got shut off the track. Trouble. They're going to wreck. This is going to be the big one. Caution is out as they wreck big time going into turn 3. Oh, man, we got one upside down. Is that Ken McCullough Jr.? Yes, it is. Oh, he's going to get tagged again. Now he's barrel rolling in the grass. Boy, that looked like a Gen 4 crash. And that thing still drives. Oh my good, that thing, he's driving that car away from the accident. Oh my goodness. I knew the Gen 4s were tough. I didn't know they were this tough. Oh my goodness. I can't even tell you how he's driving away. That is unbelievable to me. But man, that was a massive accident. We were wondering when the big one was going to strike tonight. And it was with 7 laps to go. And Nash Brambilla, man, look at that thing. Right front tire completely ripped off, but he's trying to limp it around. Wonder if he's got a fast spare. Boy, that tire looks like it's getting ready to fly off. I'll tell you what, the damage model is certainly maybe a little, I don't know if I want to use the word goofy, but a little silly. I mean, look at this. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Brambilla has lost a tire. Watch out back. We got a couple cars that are going to be catching up to this thing. Can we see it out of the cockpit view? Where'd it go? I lost it. Or maybe the safety crews caught it somewhere down the backstretch. All right, well, let's go back first and take a look at what happened to this. This was certainly a wreck for the record books here for PGR standards. My goodness, this looked like something you would see in Mooncar. Holy smokes. Watch this first from... Boy, I don't know if the chopper view is wide enough to capture everything that happened here. I mean, these guys were 3 wide. Let's see if we can figure out first how Malik Ray got shut off the racetrack, because I wonder if that has anything to do with the stacking up that led to it out back. Okay, so here we go. Malik's on the inside. Dawson's got a massive run, and they're stacked up behind him. So Dawson's... This is a tough spot to be as a driver, because if you're Dawson, he's trying to give Malik as smooth of a push as he can, but he can only check up so much because he's got all the cars behind him. But unfortunately, it's just a little too much of a push. Lifts the rear tires of the one off the racetrack. Malik has a great save and gets off the racetrack, but you see that it's just checking all these guys up out back. And in doing so, this is how the caution is going to start here. And let's see who it is that makes first contact. I think it was Dawson Wise. We'll go to the chopper view. Again, work with me here. This is a big, big wreck. It's going to take a minute to actually sort all this out. All right, here we go. Watch for Dawson Wise here. The 98s as Belichick tries to realign. Ooh, hits him in the left rear. Oh, so it's 2 incidents. It kind of happened at the same time. That's probably why it was such a big wreck here. So for the wreck between Dawson and Veliky, you're going to see Veliky as he tries to realign Dawson, just tags him in the left rear. And then further back, what happens with these guys? See Joshua McCullough there, and is that 74 Brian Hennings or Mike Davenport maybe? Watch Joshua McCullough in the 05. They get 4 wide. Actually, they go almost 5 wide briefly. In the 89 Ozroth. Ooh, Davenport in the 9. They run out of room. Davenport gets turned down into Joshua McCullough. And then from here, it is on. Look at the cars that get piled up in this one as they go back up. And that's not even the brunt of it. The brunt of it's up where Ken McCullough Jr. was running. He goes upside down. Watch this again here. Just look at all the cars that get collected. Ken McCullough Jr. initially thinks he's sneaking through, and then bam. Collected, and right up the racetrack he goes. Takes some big hits as part of that one. Michael Barksdale, not sure how much damage he got, but he certainly still got collected in this. So a big, big incident. There's Veliky. Oh my gosh, he got pile driven. I want to see this from a couple different views. So first off, we got to go check out Ken McCullough Jr., not only his onboard, but also we'll go to a zoomed in view after. Watch the flips for the 03 here. What he saw as initially looked like it was going to be one of the wildest near misses for Ken McCullough Jr., but then right at the end, it's turned upside down and a long slide before he eventually is going to get to the grass. Once he gets there, barrel rolls. We're landing back on all 4 and then shifts it down to first. Drives away just like nothing happened. That's one of the major differences that, you know, we'll always still talk about in the sim versus real life is there's not a chance he would have been driving away from that in real life. But, hey, nonetheless, certainly makes for good broadcasting. Good broadcasting material, I should say, is there's the contact that sends the 03 flipping a pinwheel. Takes that long slide here and then watch as he gets down. Can't really see it from that view. There you go. Next up, Tyler Vickery. See him in the chat saying he got a pretty good view of this one. Let's go see what it looked like for the 24s. He was right at the back of this group. Man, sees it all, checks up. Oh my goodness, that was a big hit there for Brent Bill at the end too, and heck of a job by Vickery to get through that one as we had 2 cars flip. Veliky went over. I didn't even see that in the first one. One more angle of this here from turn 3 cam. See if this can help capture just how many cars were taken out in this. So your 9th caution of the night, just in time, back live for a restart with just 4 laps to go. Daniel Falkingham leads him to the green. And 32 with another big jump, doing exactly what we have seen so many leaders do tonight. Jumps up to the top of the racetrack. Now what will Nagels do? Looks like for now he's content to push. Miles will do the same. Now Nagels jumps to the inside. Big dive to the bottom of the racetrack. Basin in the 24. Harper, though, not there to provide help to the 6 yet. And watch for that third lane. It's been so strong here tonight. Who's going to take it? Seipel further back, quick to jump out. One more going to jump out of line as well. It's the 89 Osmanoff. Now Michael Triscaro's going to go to the third. Remember, though, we've got to get all the way to the white flag for this race to be official. Still a ways to go. And the 34, Michael Triscaro, still looking for his first PGR win. Trevor Osmanoff lining him up for a push, and that third lane's got all the help in the world, but no momentum to go along with it, at least not right now. And Malik and Falkingham stay 2 by 2, but a little bit of a 3-car breakaway just briefly. Nagels, Basin, and Harper were able to try to pull away from the field, but you got to be careful because when they got caught, or when they get caught, I should say, it's going to be a massive run here for Falkingham, Malik, and you wonder where everybody's going to go with it. Will there be a block? Harper content to stay with these 2 on the bottom for now. Malik's got to run. Does he have enough to get clear to jump up? He does, but he's not going to take it yet. Still content to stay with the bottom. And all the 3 wide out back continues to stall these guys out more and more. They've got to get organized, and they've got to do it soon here. We're going to be coming to 2 laps to go. Less than 6 miles remaining here at Talladega. Who is going to take home tonight? $230 as Triscaro got really loose right there. Trevor Osmanoff had to back out of it. Now they stack up. Are they going to wreck? Yes, they are. Seipel's going to go around. Back up the track he goes. Caution's going to come right back out. A couple of big hits, and this one is, oh man, Ken McCullough Jr. will get involved. Christopher McCullough is also involved, the 24. Tyler Vickery had gotten through so many tonight, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to escape this one. And man, oh man. These guys, it has been a pretty wreck-filled night, to say the least. 10 cautions and 55 laps. It has been a long one for sure. And go back and see if we can figure out what happened with this one. This was further towards the back, and looks like it's just a lot of pushing and shoving, and you really can't push and shove back here. Or is it a stack up? Oh, it's actually a stack up. I'll take that back. And it all starts, I think it all actually is going to start when Michael Triscaro first gets loose up here off a push by Trevor Osmanoff. And you wonder, did that form from his teammate jumping up? So you see right there, Triscaro's got a teammate in front of him. It might be Brian Hennings. And there's a little bit of a stack up as he's got to check up to push him. And that checkup's going to go back to Trevor Osmanoff, then back to Brock Westmoreland. Seipel gets into Brock. Seipel checks up. 77 of Bagley gets into Seipel. And that's going to turn Seipel down into Dawson Wise, who's going to have nowhere to go. And then Seipel goes around. Contact, and the rest is history. You see all the guys that get collected in this one is, look at our turn 3, or TV3 view. You see as they all try to miss it. Vickery tries to go low, and oh man, 77 Bagley comes down and clips him. Ken McCullough Jr., Christopher McCullough, man, came piling in there. Big hit for the 04. And a few others through this one. See if we got a few other angles of this here. So, by the way, I do want to note that this is going to send us to our one and only green-white checkered attempt. And obviously, we'll talk more on that in just a moment. I was trying to see if we could get a little bit more of a view on Nick Seipel, the initial car that spun. Boy, it's been a rough night for Seipel. I feel like he's been involved in a lot of these incidents, but he's still out there fighting. It's the perks of a fast repair. I don't know if he's going to be able to fight much more after this one. Looks like the damage is mostly aero, so he can get that repaired even if he doesn't have a fast repair, but all right, so as we go back live now, and we're starting to slowly trim the field down here, as looks like from about 23rd on back, those cars are in the pits. A lot of drivers with damage trying to get some things fixed. Meanwhile, up front, Dylan Basin currently leading the race with Nathan Harper in second. You've got Malik Ray third. Daniel Falkingham 4th. Zachariah Cartledge in 5th. John Ellis Jr. 6th. Cody Nagel 7th with Brian Hennings in 8th. Jared Haynes in 9th. And Stephen Miles currently rounding out your top 10. Lights are still on the pace car. I would suspect that those go off this time. And again, remind you of the PGR overtime rules because they're a little bit different than regular overtime rules. It's quite simple. We are going to have one attempt at a green-white checkered, and how it works is we're going to run both laps out. These guys wreck them up on the first lap. We're going to keep it green and run things all the way through to the checkered. So no more caution. So if you're out there, you have a chance at it. By the way, 70 viewers. Guys, as much as I love seeing it, I gotta ask, can we get a few more likes on the video if you're enjoying? If not, hey, don't have to like it. I don't blame you. But nonetheless, I do want to say I appreciate everybody that's tuned in here tonight. We always love seeing the bigger the number, the better. And it lets us know that hopefully everybody's enjoying things. But nonetheless, I do want to take this chance to mention some of the big upcoming events for PGR. Obviously, the SummerSlam, $4.99, going to be coming up in, I believe, later summer. It might have been even in August. I think that's going to be when that comes up, so we'll have more on that as things get closer. Then obviously the PGR Old School 400, looking forward to that as well. So a lot of big events that we're going to be seeing for these guys, and obviously the Intimidator Superspeedway Series Q2 schedule coming to a close there as well. And so do the lights go off this time? Indeed they do. All right. Line these guys up for one final shot at it. Now, I think Nathan Harper is in a pretty good spot here. I think the 48 of Basin's probably going to jump up in front of the 24. Now, big things to watch on this restart. First of all, the outside seems to be the lane that the leader jumps up to every restart here over the last few. And also, that third lane on the first lap seems to be kind of the biggest threat of anything we've seen in any series here at Talladega. We've seen Malik and Miles make it work like magic a few times. If you jump up to that third with 3 cars and you've got to run, I think you're going to be able to get to the front. Obviously, though, the other thing you got to keep in mind here is going to be a lot of blocking, especially up front. These guys all want to be crowned the winner of the first Gen 4 Cup Series race in the Intimidator Superspeedway Series. And big for Dylan Basin. He's another driver who could be due for one. And if you're looking for any underdog picks, I would say Zachariah Cartledge has got to be the biggest name that comes to mind, currently sitting in that 5th spot. John Ellis Jr., not really an underdog, but we haven't seen him go to victory lane in some time. Brian Hennings in 8th. He's got a great shot at it. Jared Haynes as well. Michael Triscaro even in 11th. Can't rule him out either. All right. Field now working their way through 3 and 4. Again, don't forget the overtime rules. We're running both of these laps out. If they wreck, we will keep going. Whichever drivers can make it through it are the ones that will have a shot at it. But hopefully these guys can all keep it clean and we can get a historic finish here to the action that we've had tonight. It's been a lot of caution so far, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. To me, a good finish can erase a bad race. Let's see if we can get that. Dylan Basin, Nathan Harper, 2-lap shootout at Talladega. Would you have it any other way? Here we go. Green flag in the air. 2 laps to go at Talladega. And a good restart for the 48 of Basin. That's exactly what we thought he was going to do. When will he jump up to the top of the racetrack? He won't do it yet as they work down towards turn 1, the inside. Still rolling further back. Stephen Miles already rolls to the top. Him and Trevor Osronoff, they're able to get linked together. And watch for which tandem duo works the best. Dylan Basin washes up. Oh, man, that was a big checkup. These guys somehow all hold it together. Oh, one end of the wall out back. Is that going to wreck them up? A few of them trying to save it. They all do. We're going to keep the cameras on the leaders the rest of the way. Miles still no momentum generating in that third lane. Hennings has jumped out there as well. But it's still 2x2 up front. That's the battle for the lead. Harper on the bottom. The 48 of Basin up top. Now we see Nagels. He shuffles into the top lane further back. Saw these guys wrecking out back. That's going to trim this lead pack down to probably about 15 cars. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go at Talladega. And oh man, things are single filing out. That means that Basin is going to have to do some blocking. Falkingham's going to stick with it for now, as does the 20 of John Ellis Jr. Harper and Malik, they'll have a run here. Will they take it on the backstretch? They stay in line for now. I think this group may be trying to play a little bit of runaway here from everybody else. And they're able to do it. John Ellis Jr., though, stays tucked in line. Now the 24, Harper ducks out, looks for a side draft on the 20th. John Ellis Jr., he's going to get it into turn 3 and 4 for the final time tonight. Falkingham now trying to tandem away with the 48 of Basin. They're going to stay connected. It'll be a 2-car race for the win. When does Falk make his move? Now he goes. Falkingham makes the move to the outside. He'll side draft Basin all the way back to the line. Daniel Falkingham, can he get it? 3 wide, he does. Daniel Falkingham takes the first win in the new Gen 4 cars. In a 3-wide photo finish. It was a tie for second, but Daniel Falkingham, what a win. Time to move perfect. He's won in PGR before, and he wins it again tonight. And I'll tell you what I saw with this car right there at the end that I'm hoping we see more of, that I really liked, was when you see exactly what Falkingham just did. The ability to tandem away with the leader off of 4 so that you can make it a race between just you and the guy that you're pushing. That is one of the, in my opinion, my favorite things to do as a driver. It makes it, you basically know there's no loss. You can make whatever move you want and not have to worry about the consequence out back. Falkingham going to bring it around and burn it down. And we'll go back. Look at that finish one more time here. But before we do, how about a look at your final results here tonight? And by the way, if you are curious about some of the drivers' opinions on these cars, make sure that you do stick around. We will have those during the post-race interviews as we still await the results here tonight. And if we get the results here tonight, for some reason not coming through just yet, and if for some reason they're an issue, we will have to try something different. There we go. Daniel Falkingham again is your race winner of the first Gen 4 car. We'll call it the Gen 4 Series race for the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series. Nathan Harper takes home second. Dylan Basin finishes on the podium in third. And it's Malik Ray taking fourth. Michael Triscaro, good run for him, takes home fifth. Jared Haynes in sixth here tonight. Stephen Miles in seventh with John Ellis Jr. in eighth. Adam Young finishes in ninth, and it'll be Cody Nagels rounding out short top 10. Zachariah Cartilage finishes in 11th. Mark Pearson in 12th. Nick Seipel in 13th. Michael Barksdale in 14th with Dawson Wise in 15th. Dylan Jones 16th. Then Velicki finishes back in at 17th with Joshua McCullough in 18th. And rounding out the top 20 here tonight, it's going to be Jeff Merck and James Wagner. Finishing in 21st is Ken McCullough Jr. with Joey Maschwitz in 22nd. Mike Davenport 23rd. Brian Hennings 24th. Trevor Osmernoff 25th. John Darnell in 26th. Mark Vondell finishes 27th. Tyler Vickery 28th. It'll be Chris Melton 29th and Brock Westmoreland rounding out the top 30. Miles Bagley finishes 31st. Axel Smith in 32nd. Sterling Thess 33rd. Christopher McCullough 34th. Nash Pramila in 35th. And Chase Mastretta finishing in 36th. All right, we are going to go grab your top 3 for interviews. But before we do that, let's go back and look at this finish one more time. See exactly how Daniel Falkingham was able to find victory lane here tonight. This is going to be coming to the checkered flag. Off of turn 4, though, you saw it. The move out back as Harper and Malik trying to make something happen. They kind of stall out as they side draft John Ellis Jr. back. That allows these two to stay tandemed up. Falkingham starts to push him away, and then right here, Falkingham catches him off guard, jumps out. Basin tries to cover, but he can't do it. Falkingham immediately drives back down for the side draft. Him and Basin stay almost door-to-door all the way to the line, but then all of a sudden, look at that big run from the inside. Malik and Harper drag racing it out for second, and we're going to go frame by frame here to show you just how close it was. For your leader, not as close as what it was for second, still a phenomenal finish nonetheless. As Daniel Falkingham takes it by almost a car length, and 6/100ths of a second is the official gap. All right, we are now going to go grab your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us here at Talladega. All right, welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Going to start first here tonight with your race winner, the 32 of Daniel Falkingham. Daniel, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, man, you get a win in a photo finish form tonight, and in the first time that we have ever ran the new Gen 4 car here at PGR. First of all, how's it feel to get the job done in a photo finish?
Yeah, I guess first for everything, right? I don't know, man. That was crazy race. I just wish we didn't have all the cautions that we did, but yeah, it was definitely interesting to learn like how like the lines work, how like the momentum works, because there was times where I thought I had it figured out, and then it went a completely different direction. So this was a weird car to figure out at first, but we'll get better at it eventually. But now to be the first winner in these cars is really, really cool. And finally, I can say I got a win on a regular Thursday night for the first time. So just a regular PGR race. So we'll take that for sure.
Absolutely. Well, man, I got to ask about the last lap. Was that move designed, or was that just the way things kind of worked out? We saw you tandem away with Dylan Basin, and then it was just you guys. You were able to set up a move and basically do whatever you wanted there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do because I had like John and Nathan behind me. We were all like together and stuff, but I was afraid to like make the move on the backstretch because I don't know, like if I make the move and Dylan blocks it, that just kills all of us, and that kind of foiled my run. So I wanted to wait till the last second once I realized that we could tandem away from the field, like we could like break away. Surprisingly, I didn't think that could be a thing, but I was able to break away with Dylan, and that allowed it to kind of decide between him and I. But then you look at the finish, freaking Nathan was right there. They had an insane run because we just gave up so much mo trying to battle each other to the line. So, but no, I definitely had to think that out. We probably could have gone earlier to make sure like John and Nathan were both with me, so we could have probably finished like 1, 2, 3. But I don't know. I just was afraid of making it too early and having it not work out. It's just a hard thing with these cars where mo means so much and the draft's insane, where it's hard to block these runs because these runs are crazy that I've noticed too. So. But no, we're still figuring it out. But I'm just glad we could get that one. Say we got the first one. That's pretty cool, and felt like it was pretty calculated because it was almost. If we made that move a little bit earlier, Nathan probably would have won that. So I think we made it at the right time.
Yeah, you got that right. Perfectly timed move results in a win for you here tonight. So Daniel, before we let you head out to go celebrate and enjoy the winnings, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I got to shout out you for putting on the broadcast. Thanks to Mike and Baker for putting this stuff on. Shout out to John Ellis and Nathan as well for working good together. Wish we could have all finished up there, but definitely glad we could still get one for the boys. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate everyone for watching. Appreciate everyone who comes out and races. And yeah, that's about it.
And Daniel, thank you for talking to us. Congrats again on the race win, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, Austin.
All right, now that's going to bring us to your second place finisher here tonight. That's Nathan Harper. Nathan, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, you take home second tonight on official scoring. It was so close between you and Basin that it had to come down to official scoring. But nonetheless, you do get scored in second here tonight. Tell us a little bit about what was going through your mind the last lap and how you decided on when you wanted to make the move.
Coming to, I think it was turn 3, I made the move inside of Basin, and I feel like that cost me. I should have stayed up. I didn't know the bottom was going to die out. And then, Malik was behind me, and he said, I'm with you. So I took the run. He went back down because he had damage, got back up to me, and then we had the momentum. And Dan and Dylan, they were up there fighting sideways at each other. I had to run. I looked at my relative. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I get him? Did I win? But nah, it was for second. But I mean, this is, I don't even know how many podiums I have this year, but hey, it goes on the stat sheet, so I ain't mad.
Absolutely, and a podium is still a good payout as well. Now, obviously a new car here tonight, a lot of cautions, but what did you kind of take away? What were the big things you noticed with this car?
It was weird. It kind of reminded me of a next gen, obviously not the current next gen, but before that got updated. Because I mean, you can make the top work if you have people committed, and a lot of 4-wide action. So it was about protecting your inside or outside, and I mean that's how you really gain spots. But yeah, you can move around a little more.
Absolutely. I was going to say we certainly saw a lot of runs and a lot of things happening. Obviously, I'm sure we'll run this car in the future, so still a lot of things to learn, but overall a great night for you. So before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Well, shout out to my teammate Falk. He finally got his first Thursday night win, and when he told me that, I was like, "What? Like that was your?" I thought he had more, but his wins before that, they're all special events. So he finally got his first Thursday night win, so that's good for him. And shout out to Ellis, so I worked with him tonight, and Shiskara for putting this on, and you for broadcasting. And everyone who showed up tonight.
And Nathan, thank you for talking to us. Congrats again on the second place finish, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
You too. All right. That is now going to bring us up to your final podium finisher on the night, and that is Dylan Basin. Dylan, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, you bring home a third-place finish here tonight. It was a photo finish, though, for that second spot that Harper ended up just barely beating you out there at the line. Man, you go from almost winning the race to finishing third. Do you think there was anything else you could have done to try to hold off Daniel Falkingham there at the end?
No, I mean, he had to run so fast. As soon as he pulled up to my right rear, it already started pulling me back. So if I tried to block, I would have put us both in the wall and caused both of us a shot at the money, which is obviously not what we want. So I kind of just had to hold smoke right there and hope for the best. And I was trying to pull him back a little bit, but in turn, Harper and Malik came by like 20 miles per hour faster. So it's just not much we can do there when you're the leader in a car that has so much side drafting in it and stuff. So, I mean, honestly, I'm just glad to bring it home with the money and not wreck it at all. I kept the clean race the whole time. Wasn't really around any trouble. And, it's really the most you can ask for.
Absolutely. A great run for you here tonight. Now, obviously, new car and a lot of cautions. How does that kind of change the strategy play, at least for tonight's sake? When we started getting a lot of those early cautions, did you have to change the way you were racing?
Not really. I mean, all the wrecks seemed to be in the back and stuff, and I was pretty comfortable with this car already. These high horsepower, low downforce cars are what I really enjoy, so it's kind of my wheelhouse, and I've driven it a lot already since it came out, so I'm kind of was just sticking with the game plan, just try to keep my trap distance, stay up front, allow myself my teammates. Unfortunately, I didn't have any with me right there as they all got taken out at some points in the race, but nonetheless, we still brought home a good finish. That's, like I said, all you can really ask for.
Absolutely. Even without teammates, you take home a podium tonight. So before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
I'd like to thank the Jack Shack guys for putting me in these races and helping me out, and Team Conti Sim Performance, and thank you for broadcasting.
And Dylan, thank you for talking to us. Congrats on the third place finish. We'll see you next week.
All righty, thank you.
All right, well, that'll wrap up interviews, and that'll just about wrap up our coverage here tonight. Daniel Falkingham takes the win in the first ever PGR eSports Gen 4, at least the new Gen 4 race, I should say, but boy, what a great race it was, even despite the cautions. I definitely look forward to seeing what this car holds in store for the future, and we got the finish that we wanted tonight, so I would call it good there. Nonetheless, thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back next week with more of the Intimidator Superspeedway Series. And until next time, have a good night.